Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Tuesday, the 25th of June 2019. So yesterday, stocks slump after Quadwitch, bonds, bullion and Bitcoin jump. So let's have a look. Not a lot happening on the Dow yesterday. The market waiting for news. You can see yesterday the market barely moving higher. Low volume as well. And overnight prices moving to the downside. But in yesterday's pre-market session, the market tried to move higher, then came down and then got into a range. Very quiet indeed. And then at the start of the session, the market tests the 200 bar moving average, and then we see some buying coming into the market. Only a 50-point range off this level. And then prices just drifted lower there as a lack of interest. And then through the 200 bar moving average, tries to come back, then becomes a bit of a magnet oscillating between the two. And then overnight we saw the market come to life and drive higher, but again only 50 points. Then get a retracement, and then prices broke through the 200 bar and DP here, and you then see prices have since moved lower. So there is some weakness around at the moment. And yesterday one of the Fed members announced that cutting interest rates wouldn't be a good idea, and this is probably weighed on the market as well, as it would create another bubble. I don't know about another bubble. We've already got major bubbles as it is. So they're trying to avoid some sort of economic catastrophe from having reduced interest rates when they aren't necessary. As I said last week, how can you have unemployment at its lowest rate and then consider actually reducing interest rates? Because this is the benchmark that they've used for years, Yellen in particular, that the interest rate was a good measure of economic growth. It's all smoke and mirrors, it's utter nonsense. But sort of contradicts the policies that they've held. So yeah, anyway, the Dow is stuck in the sideways move, hasn't quite got back to the all-time high that we looked at, which is surprising really, to say the least. We came within 40 odd points of it on Friday, but so far this week the market not interested. News today, OPEC meeting. Consumer confidence for the US, but again all of these tend to be ignored. Here we go. So Bullard and Powell are speaking later, 6 p.m. We've got Powell speaking, so that may ignite the market a bit. That's what the market's after at the moment. Is any clue as to where interest rates are going to go? But yesterday very quiet indeed, so that's probably why. And then the pound also very quiet yesterday, just trading down to the 200 bar moving average in the DP, finding support. Interesting how the DP and the 200 bar work together, and then the market moving off this a bit on the overnight, and still fairly quiet. You can see between here and this red line here is only 50 pips, so you can see how quiet this is too. Meanwhile, Bitcoin continues to move higher. There's no stopping it at the moment. Continues to run to the upside there. And yesterday, we look at intraday. Once the market got back above the 200 bar moving average again, it became a major area of support for this market. And then you see prices moving higher off this. The buy side showing this as well, as opposed to the sell side, very strong to the upside at the moment in this market. You can see overnight prices are being driven higher, bit of selling around at the moment, but any pullback to the 200 bar moving average would no doubt at the moment, given the strength in this market, show some form of a good buy signal there. Got a bit of resistance here in the weekly chart, so just draw this across. You'll see there. Watch out for this level if prices continue to move higher. But as soon as we get to the 20,000 level in this market, I have no doubts we're going to sail straight through this, as all markets do. As I've said before in the market alert, with regards to Bitcoin, markets always go back to make their all-time highs and beyond. and this one is going to be no different. And keep in mind as well, the institutions are only just starting to come on board with regards to getting into these markets, so there's a long way to go on the upside with this, and looking for potential pullbacks in the 4-hour charts down to these sorts of levels as we saw here to buy and hold. Good areas to buy back in at, so just having the patience to wait for it to do this. And then finally, a quick roundup of other things. The implied volatility, I suspect, will have dropped from 1306. It's actually gone up, which is interesting, very interesting. That says to me, given how quiet it was yesterday, you would assume that would drop. It hasn't, and that tells me that something's going on in the background of this market, that they see a sizable correction coming. You can't see this increase as a rule. That's the opposite of what it should do when the market was fairly quiet there for yesterday. So maybe there is a correction coming here. The pricing on the put side for a potential risk to the downside. So a very interesting picture there. 13.49 for yesterday on this one. Deutsche Bank back at the 200 bar moving average. It'll be interesting today, see if the market can hold at this level, and how long for. If not, then we start moving back to the downside. We still got the 640 level here marked on the chart just in case prices get to this, but at the moment we've got a dead cat bounce going on in this market, making lower highs now as well, so keep an eye on this one as well. Okay, that will do for this one. Remember, Powell's out at 6 p.m. See if we get a bit more activity today. Very quiet yesterday. Nonetheless, as the implied volatility shows here, there is something going on, because that should have actually moved to the downside, and it's not. So we've got a bit of a divergence going on there between the underlying market and marking up the put options. Okay, that will do it for this one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.